would almost bet, Adi, this is not intentional. No, I really don't believe this is intentional at all, but I also believe when it comes to this white and the gold trim from Usyk, I believe it has something to do with the Bible. I believe it's a religious thing, and I believe like that has been a lot of his driven motivation, his belief in Jesus Christ. And not just that, when he came here, the first thing he did was go to church, and he's been saying it the whole time during this whole promo.
You know, there's something, I've been lucky enough to have sat down with Rico a few times now in the lead up to this fight. When he talks, he makes you believe him. He speaks with such assuredness, such authority, where obviously, look, he's a big underdog, but you believe that something crazy could happen because of the way he talks.
Well, there is mental power there, and let's not forget he has displayed that. 12 years glory champion, defeating opponents after another, facing adversity, overcoming adversity, and yeah, that kind of creates confidence, right? So he speaks with confidence. I think that's what's resonating.
And ultimately, Malik, he gets kicked in the face. I mean, this guy is used to knees and kicks. I mean, there's no fear factor of Rico. Rico's coming in there, as he says, an undefeated, long-reigning champion. He's coming in there to do some damage.
Yes, and one thing you just said, Adi, that make a lot of sense. He get kicked in the face a lot, right? And just being a kickboxer, so you'll say, well, he should be able to handle a punch. But the punches that come from Oleksandr Usyk are the punches you can't see. He hit you with the blindsided shot. So yeah, Rico may have seen a bunch of kicks, a bunch of whole different punches, but he's never seen nothing that's going to be coming from the direction of shots the way how Oleksandr Usyk throw punches.
This is very different for Rico, I'm guessing, Alistair. For his last 10 years, he walks into the ring in kickboxing as a favorite. He goes in there and we expect him to win. This will be the first time in a long time he's walking into a ring and nobody here expects him to win.
And that can be his beneficial factor. Yeah. That can work out for him.
The beautiful country of Egypt already brings so much history with it, and then being so close to the pyramids that have been here for thousands of years, and now we're in 2026 and still Egypt is writing history, and me and Oleksandr are a small part of that history with us headlining this main event on this card. So that's why I say I feel so thankful. And thank you to His Excellency and the whole organization. Of course, thank you to Oleksandr Usyk for accepting this challenge. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night.
And you've said in the build-up as well, Rico, look, let's talk about the similarities with yourself and Usyk as great champions, rather than the differences. You're two gentlemen, it's been classy in the build-up, but what do you respect deep down about the man you're sharing the ring with as a character and a fighter?
No, 100%. I think just in general, if we look at the world, we are more looking at what makes you different from me.
Listen, I respect all my rivals because I know how it's. Because who training boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, you know, fights, it's amazing guys and the crazy guys. Yes, I respect all my rivals, but it's hard sport, bro. You training boxing?
I had one spar and that was it, so no.
Please, go try one training, one round, the real sparring.
I'll try.
Yes.
I'll try.
I respect all my rivals, bro.
Yeah, I need to look after my nose.
Don't worry.
I'll be out of a job.
Protect, caps, no problem.
Thank you, Oleksandr.
Come my camp.
Can I, yeah?
Of course.
Okay, no problem. I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you.
I have no idea, you know, how many rounds this is fight. I'm not set if 12 rounds, it's normal, but I don't know. When I have chance, I do it.
For you, Rico, I know you've seen this so many times in your mind, the fire and your motivation you spoke about all week. How do you believe you win this fight on Saturday? What's the best way for you to beat Oleksandr Usyk on Saturday?
For me, the first objective is to win. And how we're going to win, we'll see. If it's a knockout, it's a knockout. If it's a decision, it's a decision. So, and if it would come to a decision and I get the win, wow.
Bring something that you haven't seen before? Do you believe he can bring something that you possibly haven't seen before in a boxing ring? What are the big dangers?
Now it's only words. This is press conference and we speak a lot of, but my language will be in ring, you know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. We'll see. It's God's will.
I ain't gonna beat a boxer in a boxing fight. It's not happening. I might beat some, do you know what I mean, at a certain level, but like I'm not gonna jump in and beat like a Usyk or a fucking Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. It's just not happening.
What do you make of it? You've sparred. Does he have any chance?
I mean, I've been sparring Rico for 10 years, so I know him well. He's like, I'm lucky enough to say that he's a friend of mine as well. Super good guy. I think anybody's got a chance, don't they? But I think Usyk's is a of level. Rico's a big human being. He might cause Usyk some problems with his move. Like,
I've got a better question.
They move different.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would.
Look, you don't take anyone for granted. He's a big, strong guy, Verhoeven. He's in good shape. He's physical. He's game. You know, he's experienced in the kickboxing realm. You don't take anyone for granted, but he doesn't figure to have any chance against Usyk. And Usyk is a serious guy.
Oleksandr Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven just got real, and the final predictions from Boxing Insiders might shock you. The first take comes from Tony Bella, who drops a surprising angle alongside Tom Aspinall, explaining exactly why Rico could seriously shake things up.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would. But I am a little bit biased on Rico's side. But
well, if that's the case, then
I do think he would.
This guy's got a chance. Because Francis Ngannou gave Tyson Fury an absolute hell of a fight. I'm not saying he beat him. A lot of people do think he beat him. And I understand why they think he beat him.
Come on, you've been in the ring with Usyk though. Like,
unfortunately, I have, yeah. But it makes no change on what my opinion is. Rico Verhoeven is dangerous.
But the problem is, Tony believes that edge fades after 2 or 3 rounds, when Rico's style gets exposed and could leave him overwhelmed by Usyk's pressure.
The guy's a big lump and he can punch. Like, I'm interested to know.
Does he land a punch against Oleksandr Usyk?
Absolutely. Do you want to bet? He lands a
No, he'll land a punch.
He will land punches on Oleksandr Usyk. He'll be actually took back in the first 2 to 3 rounds by his style and what will happen.
Do you agree?
I'm not sure.
I do. I think. See, this is only from my experience of sparring boxers, which obviously sparring fighting is different, especially at that level. So there's a little disclaimer for you. But so boxers, right? They've been used to fighting someone who's come through the amateur program in boxing, and they've all got generally speaking, a pretty similar style. They'll throw a 1-2 and a left hook. They work behind a jab. They'll jab to the head and the body. They'll throw a 1-2. They'll throw,
Having shared sparring with Rico, Tom believes stepping away from a traditional boxing style and bringing something unpredictable could help Rico trouble Usyk and put on a great show.
Basic conventional stuff.
We're all taught the basics the same.
They'll all do similar stuff. They'll have 50 amateur fights, 100 amateur fights, 30 pro fights, and they're all doing similar stuff. Now, when I've sparred boxers in the past, the success that I've had, which is very limited, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm not going out there and pinging like professional boxing in a boxing spar, because I'm not. But the success that I have is when I do stuff that they're not used to. I'll be miles out range. I'll dive in and do weird stuff that they're not. I won't do the traditional 1-2. So Usyk has a chance of doing that. Sorry, Rico has a chance of doing that against Usyk, just doing different stuff that he's not accustomed to, like he would be with normal boxers. Does that mean he's going to win the fight? Not necessarily.
And then comes the shocking twist. Rico says if things do not go as planned with his trainer, he might even think about a high kick in the 8th or 9th round, something clearly not allowed.
No, I love it. If everything goes south, I'll just throw a high kick in the 8th or 9th round. It's logical because they do not know me. They do not know the story. They do not know who I am. So it's up to me to give them a little bit of context, like how what I've done within the kickboxing sport. The WBC also has a Muay Thai kickboxing division, so they understand my credentials, and that's how this fight came about. And that's how they sanctioned it. And then again, they can still be critical, but it's not up to me. It's just like, I take it as it comes. Be ready, because I'm coming for those belts.
And this is exactly what Tony Bellew is warning Rico to stay away from, because this is a sanctioned boxing fight and there are clear limits. Bellew stresses that while bringing some unorthodox angles and unexpected movement could give Rico a small window to stay competitive against Oleksandr Usyk, there is a line he cannot cross. Rico himself admits that if he even thinks about using high kicks, it could lead to an instant disqualification, ending everything in seconds.
He's a bit better than novice, but he'll do things that novices would offset you. When you're a world champion or when you're a world-class fighter and boxer, the worst thing you can do is get in the ring with a novice because they make you look stupid. It's like Tom, if he gets in the ring with a mixed martial artist and he hasn't got a clue, he'll do things that'll go, what are you doing? But they'll take him by surprise. Things that you just raw novices would do. And I think that's Rico's best chance and opportunity, really, to do some crazy stuff. Don't kick. I'm not advising you to kick, son, don't kick. But just coming square on, angles that you won't really expect, taking risks from so far out, it looks stupid, but you'll actually have success by doing it because it'll never have been done to him before, and it'll be very hard to replicate sparring partners as well.
Already sounding the alarm, Teddy Atlas sees no real chance for Rico against Oleksandr Usyk. Atlas insists fights like this often get labeled as scripted, but Usyk does not play along with that kind of narrative. He points to Anthony Joshua stopping Jake in the 6th round, saying Usyk would likely finish the job even earlier, because for him, this is simply too easy.
You know, it's some agreement there. People were wondering that, I think, for a while with Joshua and Paul, you know, was an agreement to move around for a few rounds, then take the gloves off and go at it. And of course, Joshua, I think, stopped him in the 6th round, if I remember correctly, whatever it was. But a lot of people didn't think it was go that long. We got that one right. We had the over. I think it was 3 rounds. We had the over in that one. But Usyk's not the kind of guy that would entertain stuff like that, I don't believe. I think that he does deserve an easy one.
The biggest question is not how Usyk gets it done, but how long he chooses to stretch it, at least in the eyes of Teddy Atlas. Atlas believes Rico's guard will not hold up, saying Usyk will split it with ease and start breaking him down with relentless combinations. In his prediction, it does not last long at all, with Usyk taking Rico out somewhere around the 3.5 round mark.
It's like having a heavy bag in front of you. Usyk will put punches together. He'll take what you give him. You know, he'll go to the body, he'll split the guard with the uppercut. You know, there's so many things he could do. And again, it's going to be not can he do it, does he want to do it? Does he want to do it, and how fast does he want to do it? Does he want to do it when the bell rings and go after? Then he breaks the guy down. I think the over-under is 3.5, right? Something like that.
Usyk versus Rico has everyone certain of one thing. This is a fight that will keep the audience on the edge of their seats. Max Kellerman already frames it like a Rocky movie, where if Rico can endure and take it the distance, that alone feels like a win. Mike Coppinger agrees, saying even as the underdog, if Rico can stay competitive and steal even half the rounds, he earns respect.
Sly stood his ground and made something great. Rocky loses the fight, but by going the distance, he really wins, right? So obviously, if Rico Verhoeven somehow actually beats Usyk, he will have pulled off an all-time upset. But short of that, Mike, what's a win for Verhoeven here?
Max, I think Verhoeven, obviously, if he can hurt Usyk at any juncture in the fight, that's a win. If he can make it into the second half of the fight, past round 6, that's a win for me. And just being overall competitive and showing his boxing skills, I think people need to remember, Rico Verhoeven is no joke as a fighter.
Stepping into the conversation, Malik Scott, a former sparring partner of Oleksandr Usyk, pushes back on the Rocky movie comparison, saying it is not fair to frame Usyk like that. In his view, Rico is walking into the ring against an all-time great heavyweight. Scott believes that for Rico to stand any real chance, he needs a mindset like Derek Chisora, digging deep and pushing beyond every limit from start to finish.
Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, the character, his record was like in movie land, 56-22 with 54 knockouts or something like that in movie land. Usyk is not movie land. Like I keep saying, Rico is going against, to me, probably can be considered one of the best fighters of all time in every weight division. He can have some good moments. If I was him, I would go in with the Derek Chisora mentality. Make Usyk rush his offense. Don't allow him to think, because if Usyk is, if he allow you to think and give you time, that means he's going to destroy you.
As fight night gets closer, the conversation is no longer about whether Rico can actually win, but what would even count as success in defeat. Shady argues that expectations have already shifted, with many accepting Usyk as the likely winner. Still, he adds that if Rico can push past the halfway point of the fight and stay competitive under pressure, that alone would earn real respect from the boxing world.
Let's be honest. I mean, you're going to Egypt, you're fighting in front of the pyramids, like you already won.
No, if he gets stretched in the first round, that's not a win.
My thing is this. There's no way he can win this fight just because we watch Usyk fight against other big guys that's more than 270 that actually box for a living, and they.
So what would you say is like a Rocky win, a win where you don't actually get the W, but coming out of the fight you're like, okay.
All right, I'll say this, because I felt like Jake Paul had a win against AJ, right? You lasted more than 4 rounds. If he lasted more than 6 rounds, right? Second half of the fight, I can respect that. Because Usyk ain't be joking and playing around with him.
No, not at all.
That's not his DNA.
Joining the debate is combat veteran Oleksandr Usyk, who says the real X factor in this matchup is what makes it so intriguing. He points out that Rico brings experience from kicking backgrounds, while Usyk is pure elite boxing. Usyk describes Oleksandr Usyk as a true decoder, someone who reads opponents, breaks them down, and adjusts round by round. He believes that same process will test Rico's mindset, motivation, and fight IQ under pressure.
The way I see Usyk is as a gigantic code breaker. So he is somebody who just deciphers people and breaks codes. And he just sees Rico as, hey, this is like an unknown code. Big gentleman, 125 kg, so there's like a weight advantage there. He is undefeated, so it's like a nice resume. And let's just see how I can break this code under these boxing rules set, given the, 10 rounds or 12 rounds. And the X factor, I think, is what makes this fight beautiful.
Oleksandr Usyk believes Oleksandr Usyk actually carries more pressure into this fight if he were to lose to a kickboxer. When asked if Rico has nothing to lose, Usyk agrees, explaining that even in defeat, Rico stepping in with a master boxer is already a major achievement. With no belts on the line, he can walk away without damage to his standing if outclassed. But if Usyk loses, Usyk says, it would hit his legacy hard and change how the boxing world views him.
So there's a big chance of him being embarrassed, but let's be honest, Usyk has embarrassed many fighters and outclassed many fighters. So for him, for his first fight to be outclassed by an Usyk is not a shame. And actually people are expecting that. So, and that is his goal to kind of course, he's coming into this fight to win the fight, but even if he is able to just put on an exciting fight, he'll have done better than most. So again, there's not much to lose for him into this fight.
The pros believe that if Rico even makes it past the halfway point, he earns serious respect in this matchup. Oleksandr Usyk, a former martial artist, has already described Oleksandr Usyk as a fighter who deciphers opponents rather than chasing early damage. Tony Bellew, who has shared the ring with Usyk, adds that he does not just punch straight but studies, breaks down, and then unleashes power. Bellew predicts the fight could reach 8 rounds before Usyk fully takes over and shows his true skill against Rico.
I think this fight will be very exciting for the 6, 7, maybe 8 rounds it goes. I think Oleksandr Usyk will not want to go in there and really, he never really goes in look to do damage straight away and early. I think he'll have a look at Rico Verhoeven, he'll download what he's doing, he'll figure out what the feints will do to him, which side he'll draw him on, you know, he'll hit certain parts of the body. He's going to show you feints that make you do certain things and go in certain strategies and formations of which way you'll play it. Once he's downloaded all this, he'll get rid of Rico Verhoeven. He'll just have too much.
Giving his prediction, Gareth A. Davies says the fight could look competitive early on for Rico, but the momentum will not last. He is picking Oleksandr Usyk to secure a stoppage somewhere between rounds 7 and 9, with his main call landing in the 9th. Davies believes once Rico gets drawn into the pace, he will start breaking down under pressure. Usyk's footwork, sharp jab, and Rico's overfocus on the left hand will slowly open him up for a clear finish.
And how does Usyk win? I think Usyk stops him, and I think he stops him between rounds 7 and 10.
If you're making me do round betting, I'd go round 8 or 9, maybe round 9. I think it'll be good and competitive in the first couple of rounds, but I think Verhoeven will be dismayed and disorientated and discombobulated by Usyk's footwork and the amount of focus he needs to not be hit by that left hand that Usyk creates lots of angles for by his tip, tip, tip.
Breaking it down, Gareth A. Davies insists that the footwork of Oleksandr Usyk will be a major problem throughout the fight. He highlights that Tyson Fury, who is far bigger than Rico and has strong boxing IQ, was still outclassed twice by Usyk. Davies believes the same fight pattern will repeat here. After the halfway mark, the energy shift will fully swing in Usyk's favor, and that is when Rico could start getting systematically broken down.
That's very, very clever. And you look at how clever Fury is in the ring, how good his IQ is. He was outboxed twice by Oleksandr Usyk, certainly in the second half of the first fight and for most of the second fight.
The world is on edge, watching what could unfold inside the ring, and early predictions are already taking shape. Adam Catterall and Nick Pete believe Rico will approach the fight differently, bringing an unorthodox style that may surprise many. They suggest his best chance comes in the opening rounds, especially 1 through 3, while Usyk is still reading his rhythm and patterns. But as the fight develops, they feel the gap in experience and timing will begin to show in a big way.
Rico will throw differently. He's not an orthodox boxer, is he? So I think from an offensive point of view, it will be interesting to see how he throws his shots. I think his chances are early in this fight, as early as possible, rounds 1, 2, and 3, whilst Usyk is trying to figure out those patterns. I think from a defensive point of view, mate, I think he's going to struggle with range. We're talking about a kickboxer here. Anybody that's done any of this, whether you've been on the mats, done a bit of sparring or whatever, you'll know full well that kickboxing range and boxing range are two completely different ranges.
Building on that, they also point out the real challenge lies in the difference of range between kickboxing and boxing. They explain that even with solid technical ability and toughness, Rico may struggle to control distance against a specialist. Usyk's ability to manage space and stay in control of range is seen as a key advantage. In their view, that is where the fight slowly starts to tilt in one direction.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with one, his technical ability and how tough he is, but ultimately this is a massive task. The odds are absolutely bang on, you're right, because he is fighting a master, and I just think that range is going to be the thing that he's going to struggle with, because Usyk is the king of range.
The chances for Rico are seen as slim, and even kickboxing legends are sounding the alarm. Peter Orts and Ernesto Hoost both share their thoughts on the matchup. Hoost believes it is a very difficult task for Rico, mainly because he lacks a true boxing background at this level. Ayerts also points to the physical dynamics, noting that Oleksandr Usyk carries a stronger frame and presence, making the challenge even more demanding for Rico.
Usyk against Rico Verhoeven.
Yeah.
In Egypt, May 23.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's gonna be very difficult for Rico.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that experience in boxing.
Yeah, true.
And Usyk is really good, I think, and especially he's not even that big, but he's beating all the big guys.
Yeah, but he's quite big. I met him last time in Italy. He's bigger than me.
Regardless of all the doubts, this event still brings a huge opportunity for Rico and puts Holland firmly in the spotlight, something Peter Orts also highlights. Alongside Ernesto Hoost, there is agreement that the stage itself is massive for him. However, they also stress that the experience of Oleksandr Usyk is far more versatile, and that gap could become dangerous as the fight progresses, especially once deeper rounds begin to expose the differences.
Okay, well, let me put it like this. When I saw him fight with
Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
but Tyson Fury is...
yeah, okay. I never saw Tyson Fury. So,
he's bigger than us, much bigger.
But anyway, he did very good. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I think it's a big chance for Rico.
Yeah.
But he have to do his very best.
Yeah, but the experience this Usyk had more than 300 amateur fights.
Exactly.
And unbeaten as a professional, so I think it's a big thing. But for Holland?
Yeah.
They're gonna put Holland on the map too, you know?
All eyes are on Rico as he looks to prove why he stepped up to such a demanding challenge and whether it will pay off. Peter Aerts admits the money is clearly on Usyk, but both he and Ernesto Hoost still see a real chance for Rico to surprise. They stress that anything can happen in a fight like this, and with Rico's physical advantages and how much his boxing has developed, there is still a path to an upset or at least a competitive showing.
When I put my money, I put the Usyk, but when he make good, one punch can be over, you know? You never fight is fight, you know?
Fight is a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And so I hope that he will do good.
Yeah.
And if he show himself and if he really show that he's a good, that he evolved in the boxing and everything, I will be very satisfied.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think physically he can do it, you know, because he's always fit.
He's
Rico,
always
you know?
fit. True.
But I think Usyk is the better boxer. But you never know. No, fighting is fighting. So I hope the best. So good luck, Rico.
For sure.
Who's?
Good luck, and I hope you do good. And do your best, Us.
So after all these predictions, one thing is clear. Nobody is fully agreed on what happens when Usyk and Rico finally collide. But everyone is watching closely for the same reason, to see who proves them right. If you enjoyed these predictions, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more fight breakdowns and expert takes as fight night gets closer.